Welcome to Candid with Claudia, from possibility to reality. I am your host, Claudia Cabillos. Here, real conversations meet inspiring stories, from bold dreams to powerful transformations. Each episode, we sit down with remarkable guests such as yourself from our local community who've turned their vision into their reality. Together, we'll explore their journey, celebrate their achievements, and discover the unique flavor they bring to our shared experience. So grab your favorite drink, settle in, and let's get candid. Welcome, Christine. How are you?
Thank you. I'm good, Miss Claudia.
You just called me Miss Claudia. Okay, so we're gonna take you back a little. Christine Garrito is now an entrepreneur and has been for a few years, and we're gonna touch on that a little bit today. But she worked with me when she was about 16 years old, and we have pretty fond memories of that time. She trained and taught and coached so many of our students on how to swim. We're going to talk about safety in swimming today. But first, I want to start off and getting to know our guest today, Christine Garrito from Breathe, Swim, and Splash School.
Breathe and Splash.
And let's talk a little bit about when I met you when you were 16 years old. You were in high school going into college, and I believe swimming was a passion that you had. But you've turned that passion into your life, your business. Take us a little bit about how that transition happened to you, taking your passion into a business.
Yeah, definitely. Well, I mean, it started honestly when I was 10 years old. I was placed number 1 in Florida in the backstroke, and swimming for me just came very naturally. Like I kept placing. I peaked very young, and then I just started coaching because I was lifeguarding actually at FIU pool, and the head lifeguard, just wanted someone to teach the kids, and I just kind of jumped in. And it came really naturally to me, like the coaching. And then from there, I coached in other areas. And then at your academy, I was able to coach in the first school. And, it was honestly, like, I'm very grateful that you even stopped me, from there. So the passion really came from when I was young with the swimming. And then the coaching happened naturally. And the water safety, like, that importance came to me when I started teaching at Bal Harbor. At Bal Harbor, where a lot of the parents, they were coming in and they were leaving their kids, like unattended and not paying attention. And, immediately, just naturally, like I, not only would I be coaching with the kids, but, something irked inside of me where I felt too, like attention and awareness is, if anything, is probably the most important thing. So if anything, that was probably very passionate for me, which is why I then gravitated towards psychology in school, and more specifically sports psychology, which is enhancing our performance. And now just my lifestyle being, the self-discovery that I'm part of, because I feel, especially my responsibility and my duty for what I'm doing now, to really just be it.
And what you're doing now, you started your swim school during COVID, I believe.
During COVID. It was a week during COVID. Yeah, my belief with that came where a lot of the parents were very upset that swimming was canceled. And my belief was, well, I have a pool here. My son is 1 year old. I'm not really working. Like I can do it. So immediately, just like I had natural birth, immediately, which is the belief that I had, where like I think every kid, should be swimming even during, these times, because being outside, I thought was really good. And I think a lot of families they also had the same belief, so it went really well.
So when you started that journey of swimming, and now you have a very successful swim school, did you ever do it with the mindset that knowing that we live in Florida? Obviously, Florida has some of the most we're surrounded by water. We are a peninsula, right? And Florida has that high risk of drowning, because not only do we have the Caribbean, we have the Atlantic Ocean, we have the Bay, we have a lot of swimming pools, and we have a very, very hot climate. So when you started your school, was that a thought process behind that, or did that come afterwards because of Bal Harbor, your experience in terms of safety? Talk to a little bit about not just teaching the children how to swim, but that survival, right? And I think the first thing they learn is if you fall in the pool, what do you do? Right? I mean, most people panic when they can't swim. So how did that come to be, where I think you mentioned safety? First you were coaching, but now it's more as a safety thing, and water being become a child's life. So tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah, I think, like I said in the beginning, like when I started in COVID, it was for me more so about, I have a lot of energy when it comes to just teaching the swimming, because it comes so naturally. So not just because of that, but the empowerment and also the fun and the joy. All these kids who are coming in, they were just having a really good time, and they were getting results. So from the 5 years or 6 years that I opened, it must be over 600 students. I probably close to 1,000 actually. I know currently in this year it's been 114 kids.
Wow.
And some adults. So I know those numbers. These kids who are being confident, they're being really comfortable, and they're really, not just taking swimming like from the pool, but to the oceans. So they're having that security, and they're having that confidence within themselves and that belief. To tell their, I think also like their relatives, hey,
So would you say that Miami has responded really well to your business?
And the shores, yes, absolutely. I do feel that it's been a really good response, and now it's expanded. I'm actually in Pompano now, and I go up north.
Is that why you came from Stewart today and you were late?
It
Was it because you were teaching, you were coaching over there? Because we appreciate you so much for making it out here today, and we really appreciate that. I value your insight. I mean, I've known you for a long time, and I told everybody we're gonna wait because she's got valuable insight and just the power of what swimming and that confidence can do to a child. And so,
thank you,
100%.
Thank you. But yeah, to go back to, definitely, I was born and raised in Miami, Florida. So I'm grateful that I had like my parents to put me into swimming lessons. My parents from Peru, Spain, like there wasn't so much body of water, so I can see how culturally that can maybe for some people not be the norm, but I do feel, just having the narrative be like swimming is a really fun sport, like seeing the grandkids and the kids swimming, it encourages and inspires like grandparents and adults, to be like, wait a second, like I also want to do this too, because I genuinely think that it should start from when a mother is pregnant. Why not have a conversations, about those kind of things, like, to make it seem more like less fear-based, I think.
So while Miami has accepted you and has embraced your school, do you feel that there's some kind of misconception that parents have? Because a lot of parents do not put their children in swimming lessons, and it's ironic because Florida has an abundant resource of water. We're surrounded by so much water. Do you find resistance, or are you a little bit surprised about how many students you do have because that don't know how to swim? But yet parents have a misconception, oh, my child's too young, my child doesn't need to know. Do you battle that, and do you have to kind of like deal with that challenge of parents are like, oh, I was raised where there were swimming pools and I didn't have to take swimming lessons and I'm fine? Because we get that too in some generations, right? So I didn't know if you faced that, and how do you overcome that? Because I've seen that with some parents.
Yeah, I haven't seen it much, but I did see there's a police officer who he was very honest, and he said like he was very scared, to do swimming. He opted out of swimming actually, but he was courageous enough to be like, I need to learn because I'm doing service. I'm an officer. If there's someone who's in the ocean, who needs to learn to swim, I'm gonna be that person. So if anything, I think it's hearing those kind of things. Like if he's one cop, there's other firefighters or other people, who are just scared, too. But once I think people have the courage and the honesty, just to say like what happened, but to just like take the next steps, in doing something.
Now, the drowning risk in South Florida is high because, again, we have an abundance of water around us. How early do you recommend or do you suggest to parents that they should start their child in swimming lessons?
I think that as soon as a mother learns that they're pregnant, the doctors or the midwives should be speaking to them about where is the nearest swim school, or already have some knowledge as to what they can do, whether in the bathtub or something, because it's really just the connection, really. If you have a connection with your child with water, you have a good connection and respect for the water, then a child can learn when they're 1 year old. Joaquin, he was swimming at 1 year old because I was very persistent, consistent, and I had a really good connection with him when it came to the water. So I feel like this should be a topic that should be discussed in all places where mothers are pregnant, starting from there, and make it really encourageable.
what would you tell parents from your experience? And I want to talk a little bit also about what you do. You do a lot of an organization with the ocean and engaging children to really have not only respect for water, but don't be afraid. I think it's that fear of not wanting to get in the big body of ocean, right? So what advice do you give to parents that hear this today? What can they do? What do you recommend that they do?
Yeah, I mean, I would just say, like, to everyone, just, pay attention to, maybe your family members or anyone that you know in your space who learn how to swim, who do know how to swim, and, just really, want to experience that. And I would tell them, really just to be aware of the swim schools or be aware of certain places in the areas where there's swimming happening. But I would say the first step is just be courageous enough, to be honest, whatever the case is, whether yourself or your child. But I do feel like it starts with the parents, the families. So I would say families first, whether you're a grandparent, whether you're an adult, whether you're a coach, a teacher. I would say, like, just be responsible. It's your duty. I think, because this is a leading cause of death for kids under 5, it's been happening for many years. It's very preventable. So I would just say, to everyone who is around kids, just to just learn to swim. And then I would say encourage all the kids that you're with, to just swim and just know your whereabouts, know, like, the swim schools, know, what's happening in your space.
And I think another point that merits conversation is some parents may not do it because there's the cost factor to it, right? But I think what parents need to know, if not putting your child in a swimming class because of the cost, there are so many resources out there in every area of Miami that offer swimming classes if you qualify for them and you don't have to pay for it. I mean, you have a fantastic school at Breathe and Splash School in Miami Shores. You have Miss Claudia's at the same time, but there's also so many opportunities. Find the district that you're in. If you're in a position right now that perhaps you cannot afford the private school, that's fine. There are still other places that you can take your children. Do not let costs stop you from allowing your child to know how to swim. I think that's something that I see it a lot. Go to social media platform, Google it. There are many opportunities where the district that you live in offer services for swimming for the children in their district if you qualify for that program. So I definitely want to put that out there. But if you want a more one-on-one service, again, you have Breathe and Splash School. Please tell me the correct name to your school.
Breathe and Splash.
Breathe and Splash. Okay, Breathe and Splash. It's going to pop up in a minute here. We're going to pop it up. But please, definitely look up Christine Garrito, but don't allow your child to be a statistic because cost was an issue. And I find that really is concerning to me. Don't let cost be an issue. Definitely do your homework and research. I want to touch a little bit about swimming, and swimming is a big thing, and safety is here. And what I've loved seeing about you on social media is it's more than just teaching and coaching for you. I see you've written a book.
I have.
Called Chelsea, I believe.
Oh, Chelsea, the girl who found her passion.
There you go. Well, is Chelsea you?
There's parts of me, yes,
Okay,
and then inspirations.
Okay. I love it. I love it. So, aside from learning to swim, right? Like, what other impact does that do for a child?
I mean, again, my relationship with water when I was a kid was really good. I was really happy. I loved, just being with my coach. I loved being with my teammates. We all encourage each other. Most importantly, my first coach ever, she always treated me and everyone around as a person first before the athlete, so I had that opportunity, since a kid in being that. So I would say the relationship for sure, the connection, I think the respect, all these things which are also my values and my principles. Yeah.
And what about confidence to a child?
Well, in my mission statement in my website, the biggest thing is the confidence in every swimmer, and also for them to be very comfortable in any body of water. 100%,
because I believe that when your child learns a skill, the confidence that they get to be able to feel better with who they are, what they are, and especially when you're well, it's, when you're surrounded with a body of water, I mean, the body of water is a little bit intimidating. I have respect for Mother Nature, but the body of water is massive, right? You're the Atlantic Ocean, you go to the beach. And so, I believe that if we just empower the kids at such an early age to take swimming, I'm going to say it over swimming lessons, it will just build their confidence to another level at a really young age. How young do you take your students?
3 months.
3 months. Look at that. 3 months.
Yeah, but
Amazing.
I mean, they can be pregnant and starting.
Yeah.
It's just 3 months because it happened that way.
Yeah.
But I welcome, honestly, any mothers who are pregnant or, if they want to start just having, like, getting in their ear and, just what you can do in the womb, because already when the child's they're in water for so many months, So as soon as they give birth, like, they already have, that's their home. So I would say, like, have, just encouraging, and then encouraging, like, in the bath time, just in bath time, with your child, the tummy time, floating with your child, and then from there transitioning to the pool, baby steps.
It's so powerful you say that, because I tell my teachers at my school in the infant care room, when we're going through activities that they're doing, and I'm like, remember when you were a mom, you would talk to your belly, right? I said it's the same thing. I go, so when they're 3 and 4 and 5 months in the classroom, they're learning. If they were learning in here because you spoke to your belly, they are learning out here in the world at the tender age of 3 or 4 months. So we have the very same philosophy where you believe that it starts from the womb. Absolutely. I believe in education starts from the womb. Everything starts from the womb. What you eat, while you're pregnant, all that starts at the womb. So your philosophy is really, and schooling is really interesting with your swim school, because I'd say the same thing to my infant teacher, that they're 3 months, but you can still talk to them, read to them. They're stimulated by colors. So and that, my slogan at the school, start young, finish strong. But if you start young for the child, they're gonna finish stronger. And that is what we want as coaches, as teachers, as entrepreneurs, that you and I have turned our passions into a business.
And I definitely feel like, because it's so important to me, like, I know, like, there's been so many families and kids, the retention rates are really good, or, they take a break and they come back. They always want to come back. And I know for sure it's because, I've been cultivating my home. I've been really just nurturing and taking care of my world, and just having the courage to be honest about whatever it is, like whether, that I also, have fears on, or certain things, because then naturally it just, I think, inspires other people, because at the end of the day, we're all, I think, on the same boat. We all have these same things, but I know, like, that, the result and the transformation on my end, when they decide, like, I want to come back, or I want to, like, join World Ocean Day, like, that for me is everything too. Because
what is World Ocean Day? I think that's interesting.
Yeah, it's really just a day of, like, getting together, celebrating the ocean, celebrating, just ocean conservation, taking care of the ocean, being mindful that water has been around for so many years.
Where do you do that at?
It's in Miami Beach.
Miami Beach. Is it once a month?
It's once a month.
Very nice.
Correct, yeah.
Is it first Saturday, second Saturday?
This time it was Saturday. I believe last year it was also a Saturday. Okay. I mean, I can send you the information, of course.
Very nice. I think I think that's definitely interesting, because again, we live in Florida, where we are surrounded by abundance of water.
Yeah.
And water is an attractive nuisance to children. They automatically just gravitate to water because it's fun, it's different. And so it just goes back to the importance of swimming lessons, and the importance of starting it as young as you can. Whether it's at Breathe and Swim Splash School, whether it's at a district, a location, whether it's at Ms. Claudia's. I'm going to repeat it over and over, because the importance of this is just so much, and that's why we are here today to share all this with you. But I want to say, and you talk about this a lot, and in your social media, I say this a lot, it's not just about the sport, it's a lifestyle, right? What can you share with parents, where the parents also, because I find that some children are scared of the water, and usually the ones that are scared of the water because they can't swim, right? What can you tell the parent that can help that child that's either scared? I have students that have taken swimming, and they will cry and cry because they refuse to get into the water. Do you have any tips that you would give to the audience today? If a parent is listening today and is saying, like, I want to enroll them in swimming lessons, but my child cries and cries and I can't do it. Is there a tip that you recommend to a coach, you recommend to a parent?
Yeah, I would say, like, maybe, like, if the child is having a hard time, like, reading or something, like, you would encourage a parent to maybe create time with the child, to work, just to, like, motivate them and for them to have confidence. So I would say, like, for all the parents, you know, just like build a relationship, a really good relationship when it comes to water, when it comes with your child. Have these talks, you know, like, you know, do role playing, do certain things where it's really encouraging. And because I do think, like, you know, the home is really important. So how you take care of your home, what's going on in your home will definitely, I think, then, you know, lead to what's going to happen in the outcome. So I would just say, you know, to all the parents, you know, just make time to feel encouraged to be with your kids, to have a good relationship with water.
So this is a question I ask all of my guests, and you are going to be asked the same question too.
Yeah.
As a fellow woman in business, well, this is not exactly, it's the second part of the question that I ask. What does your possibility to reality mean to you personally?
Yeah.
What has been your possibility that you've converted into your reality?
Yeah, well, I would just say the discipline. I would say, like, the belief. I would say my faith. I would say for everyone it looks differently, and I would say embrace all of it. I would say love who you are in the mirror. If there's any resistance, if there's anything that is not your reality, you know, then just do something about it. Take action steps, you know, because that leads to results. And I would say definitely too, you know, I self-love. You know, I think self-love comes up a lot. I feel the amount of work, the amount of love that you put out there, make sure you're doing the same thing to yourself, because with that, even more reality happens. You know, even more that impossible becomes possible. You know, and I would say, like, for me in that regards now, it has really shifted where I have this opportunity to speak with someone who I respect and admire so much, you know, so there it is.
What is the next step for Breathe and Splash Swim School in Miami Shores?
I have amazing coaches.
Do?
I'm very blessed.
You do?
To have amazing coaches.
And as an entrepreneur to an entrepreneur, I'm going to tell you, your staff will make or break you. I love my staff. Shout out to my staff. Your staff, your team is your team. And when they're your team, they're your team. And so, yes, you have a great team.
I do. Because mission and vision for me is really important. That's what I'm really focused on. Other things, I can care less. You know, just that mission and that vision. And I say that with an open heart.
Yeah.
You know, because, you know, from I think 16 to now, you know, it's a lot of years to again look back at, you know, just everything, you know, that I started to now. But the most important, I would say, is just that self-discovery too. You know, just really investing my time in that.
I'm going to definitely do a whole series when I do a shout out to young entrepreneurs. I started my entrepreneurship 18 years ago. I was not 15, 18 years ago. But you, that I've known you for almost 15 years now, you're very young. And I have so much respect for the young entrepreneurs and how well they are doing today. And that is definitely a whole series that I want to cover, because entrepreneurs and small business are the backbone to any and every community. And so I applaud you for what you're doing.
Thank you.
You're right down the street from me. I truly thank you for the work that you've done with a lot of my kids that go to you, and what you're doing for the community and the greater whole. If the parents don't appreciate, they will appreciate you truly when their kids are close to the pool and the ocean and they can see how well that they're doing. So Christine, a shout out to your entrepreneurship, shout out to making your passion into this amazing business. If you want to leave any last words to our audience, this is your time to do that. What would you like to let them know?
No, I just want to say, you know, just thank you, Miss Claudia.
You're welcome.
Yeah, you're welcome. And all you guys too.
All right. You're so cute. All right. Thank you, Christine.
All right.
All right.
Thanks,
Big
Claudia.
hug. Thank you for joining us today on Candid with Claudia, as we've explored the inspiring journey of our guest, Christine Garrito, and the critical importance of swimming and water safety. Let us remember that every child deserves the opportunity to learn this vital skill. In South Florida, where water is an integral part of our life, whether it's the Biscayne Bay, the Atlantic Ocean, the Keys, the Caribbean Sea, or backyard swimming pools, let's commit to prioritizing swimming lessons for our children. Learning to swim early can truly save lives. Many wonderful locations throughout Miami-Dade County offer swimming lessons, such as Miss Claudia's and such as the Breathe and Splash Swim School. Offer swimming lessons. It is summer, it is hot, and our children love the water. If your child needs lessons, start today. With pools being attractive nuisances, it's vital to have them fenced, double fenced, equipped with motion detecting cameras and supervised by lifeguards. Together, let's ensure our children not only learn to swim, but also gain the confidence to thrive in and around the water. Because together we can truly transform their possibility into a reality, empowering the next generation. Until next time, keep swimming towards your goals.